How's it going, guys? Today I wanted to share with you the brand new Blackstar AMPED 3. Just want to say first, thank you very much to Blackstar for getting this in my hands. Some of you may have seen the Blackstar AMPED 1 review that I did. You can watch that up there. I ended up doing that, and so many of you guys love the idea of the pedal, and so did I. And whenever I get sent anything to review, I do provide criticism to brands, say if I find something that I think could be improved or whatnot, maybe change this, change that. But I ended up saying to Blackstar, that thing is so fantastic, but it'd be even more amazing if you made one with gain. And they replied back saying, actually, we are building one. We're bringing it out in early 23. And I'm like, bring it out, I need it now. Anyway, I ended up basically speaking to the guys at Blackstar and said, all right, maybe we can get you one. And I've had this since October, and I've had to keep my mouth shut, and I have been falling all over myself about it. And I'm not saying that because it's in my hands and Blackstar are sponsoring this video. This thing has been something I've been waiting for a really long time. The sole purpose of the AMPED range from Blackstar is to provide players with a really powerful, compact amp setup, which not only feels like a real amp, that's really important to a lot of players, myself included, but also is capable of fitting into so many different setups and musical environments. And in this case with the AMPED 3, there's so much to talk about, so forgive me if I waffle a little bit. It's a very capable device. The short explanation of the AMPED 3, I'd say, is it's capable of doing everything a 100 watt head would do on the market now, just in pedal format. But just to take you through its features, I'll try and be as brief as possible, but there is a lot to talk about, as I said before. On the face of things, you've got everything that you'd find on the front of an amp head. A 3-band EQ, a gain, volume, there is a boost control, we'll get to that later, there is a reverb built in, a presence, and a master volume. 3 channels, with 2 different voices for each. This actually reminds me a lot of the Series 1 range of amps. Do you remember those? The 100 and the 200? There's a lot of that going on here. You've got, for the clean channel, 2 voices, warm and bright. Warm is my favorite. I think it just sounds really, really rich and full. Bright is very tweedy and very vintage sounding. You've got crunch and super crunch for the crunch channel. And to me, they're 2 shades of AC/DC. One's heavier than the other. The overdrive channel is OD1 and OD2, and to me, you've got OD1 is like, again to my ears, it's kind of like a really hot-rodded Marshall sound that's a little bit woollier than OD2, which to me is like the 3rd channel of an EVH 5150 to my ears. It gets cleverer the further we go. You get a choice between 3 authentic power valve responses, EL84, EL34, and 6L6. And what's really cool is that you can assign a tube of your preference to a given channel. What I mean by that is supposing you prefer the sound of a 6L6 tube for the clean channel, which I do, I would simply select 6L6, dial in the clean channel to my heart's desire, hold down the clean channel button, you'll see the LEDs on the front blink, then your preset is saved. Then if you want to dial in an EL34 sound for the overdrive, you'd select EL34, tweak to your heart's content, hold down the overdrive button, and then it is saved. It's really, really easy to do. And what's great is it doesn't matter which tube is selected or whatnot at the time. If you press either of the channels, it goes back to the tube that you told it to do when you saved the preset. It has a boost built in. You get a choice between pre and post gain, and you can turn it on at any time regardless of which channel you are on. It also has a reverb built in as well, which is awesome. I really get upset when there isn't a reverb built in. And you have a choice between dark and light, and the dark reverb is my personal favorite. What I really like as well, like with the AMPED 1, is if you hold down the reverb button, it creates the freeze effect, which is basically a latch control where you can create this everlasting decay of reverb, which is like a pad synth-like effect. I'll demonstrate it later, but it's a really cool effect to have. Great to add atmosphere to the start or end of a song. You also get power reduction as well, a choice between 100 watts, 20 watts, and 1 watt. I'm keeping it at 1 watt for this demonstration. Don't worry, I'm nearly finished. Moving over to the back of the AMP 3, you'd find everything you'd expect to see on the back of an amp head in this day and age. You've got an in and an output there, your guitar would go in the in, an effects send and return, a level for your balanced outputs, you've got an XLR out, which I'm using for today's demo, and a headphone out. You've also got USB-C connectivity, so you can connect to the Architect software, which you can download for free, which this comes with. You can choose between loads of different cabs, mic choices, an ideal tool for recording. You've also got cab outputs, 8 and 16 ohms, so you can just rock it up and hook it up to your 4x12 if you so desire, and 9 volt power out, so you get 2 of them, so you can power pedals with this as well. If you really wanted to be minimal, you could show up to a gig with this and a cab and maybe a couple of pedals which are powered from the AMP 3, and you are good to go. In this video I'm going to play a bunch of different guitars and give you a tour of the settings that I have in. I'm not going to show you absolutely every cab and every single thing that this can do because I'd be here all day, as you can probably tell from how much I've said about it. Enough of my waffling, let's have a listen. This is OD1. I'm going to toggle between EL84, EL34 and 6L6 as I go, just a generic test. Just my final thoughts on the Amp 3, I think it's such a clever piece of kit. It's really, really worthwhile. If it's priced even vaguely similarly to that of the Amp 1, even if it's just a little bit more, it's still an incredibly good value piece of kit. I'm speaking before the embargo is lifted on this, hence why I'm not saying any figures when it comes to price. But all round, it's super impressive. It's even got loads of clever little things in that you'd forget about. So for supposing you're tweaking a preset on the fly, like your overdrive or something, the gain might have been at 3 o'clock, like I've got it here, then supposing you want to back it off a little bit to a given point and then go, nah, I don't like that, but where was my previous setting? If you turned it back to where it was, the LED on the top left-hand corner here will blink to tell you what the previous setting was, and that's the same for all of the knobs, which I think is super clever. Thanks very much for watching this video, you guys. I hope you've enjoyed listening to the Amp 3. I absolutely love it. I think it's superb. Thanks again, Blackstar, for sending it over and for sponsoring this video. I'll see you again in the next one. Bye-bye.